Hey everybody, it's Tom. I'm back and I'm going to take up again the theme of this essay by Ivan Illich, Brave New Biocracy, Healthcare from Womb to Tomb. Now, last time we discussed the manner in which our contemporary situation is characterized by the emergence of a new idol, the idol being life, or sort of a substantive characterization of life that differentiates our sort of relationship with that domain from those of previous eras. How does this occur? Well, just to try and recapitulate as concisely as possible, it occurs through the notion that life is something which can be engineered. And one point of departure whereby you can see this happening is with Lamarck, Darwin's contemporary, in his coinage of the word biology. When he terms the word biology, what is he trying to do? He's trying to transform his relationship with what had been the historical antecedents to biology, where the study of life and living things was marked by a kind of almost taxonomic mania. And there was a sense, though, of certain distinct realms or spheres. There was the mineral, the vegetable, the animal, and so on. But what he wants to do is he wants to subsume these differentiations and all the other taxonomic distinctions under the idea of a common denominator, the common denominator being life, and then defining life as the function of certain modes of material organization. That is, he wants to deprive life of a kind of metaphysical privileging. This is actually a kind of radical severance with that which had gone before. Now, these days, those days that had come before would probably be committed to the idea that there was something essentially, not qualitatively, not structurally, but something essentially different about life and living things. And you can put this under the umbrella of vitalism, which is presently fashionable to deride as a quaint and a superstitious way of seeing the world from bygone eras. However quaint and superstitious it may be, it's a view to which I am personally rather sympathetic. But to get back to the essay and where this fits into what we're going to talk about today, namely the relationship between life and the cybernetic. Well, obviously, Lamarck is just a convenient point because what he's doing is consistent with the project of modernity writ large, and this also finds reflection in a kind of etymological curiosity, which Ivan Illich also points out in his essay. Namely, that historically the notion of bios, from the Greek, from which we get the word biological or biology, was concerned with a sense of destiny, that life is characterized by the passage through a certain arc, certain narrative, certain trajectory. We lose that under Lamarck's characterization. I tried to beat up on Lamarck, Darwin, all those cats, even as far as they were, struggling against each other, were invested, if you will, in this transformation, where you lose a sense of destiny or a sense of process or even sort of a proto-historicity. And it just becomes a substantive entity, a resource to be managed, subject, again, to sort of engineerability. And this is where we arrive at the relationship between the cybernetic. But actually, it occurs not just through the onset of biology, but the emergence of what we call ecology, which has a generally very sort of positive feel to it. And one would be sort of almost surprised to hear someone look askance at ecology as problematic. You would think, well, you're talking about relationships, and these relationships as constitutive of the environment. It sounds almost as if it's countering the atomistic, mechanistic tendencies which we have been criticizing here and elsewhere. And at first blush, that would be correct, except that what actually counts under ecological thinking is that the importance of those relationships obtains not for those who are involved in the relationships, the actual plants, animals, what have you, and how, their own lives interact with each other, and that those lives have kind of intrinsic worth. No, rather, what counts is the extent to which those relationships subserve the overall system, the system. And it's a subtle but important difference, which is contrasted by the historical antecedent, where the concern when in terms of relationships reconnects with a sense of destiny and interaction. And there's a sense of a great play, the cosmos. We live in a cosmos, in a world which is unfolding, telling a grand story, if you will, and we all have a part to play. But there's an openness to it, and an indeterminacy, and an excitement, and a mystery, and an energy which is all sort of dismissed once we see it as merely a system or a machine. Well, within the domain of ecology, to be perfectly fair, there are those who still connect with this prior way of seeing things. But on the whole, the disposition of ecology pushes us in this direction of system first. System first is actually the connection with the cybernetic. What is the cybernetic? One moment. I'm going to take a sip. So sorry. Well, I don't want to muck this up, so I'm going to actually quote directly from the this text. How he characterizes this affair. I'll just read the entire paragraph. Ecology can mean the study. Dang nabbit, I'm sorry about that. Ecology can mean the study of correlations between living forms and their habitat. The term is also I am sorry. I am sorry. Let's start that over again. Ecology can mean the study of correlations between living forms and their habitat. The term is also screw this. So sorry. This obnoxious little frog in my throat. Ecology can mean the study of correlations between living forms and their habitat. The term is also and increasingly used for a philosophical way of correlating all knowable phenomena. It then signifies thinking in terms of a cybernetic system, which in real time is both model and reality. A process which observes and defines, regulates and sustains itself. Within this style of thinking, life comes to be equated with the system. It is the abstract fetish that both overshadows and simultaneously constitutes it. Now here's a phrase which, by the way, thank you for your patience when I had that obnoxious coughing fit. That was silly. But getting back to the main point here, I want to really hone in on this sentence again. Well, here he means ecology, then signifies thinking in terms of a cybernetic system which, in real time, is both model and reality, a process which observes and defines, regulates, and sustains itself. Within this style of thinking, life comes to be equated with the system. A system which is in real time, both model and reality, a process which observes and defines, regulates, and sustains itself. The model and the reality are collapsed into each other. What is attained thereby is a closing off of creative possibility, of novelty, of excitement, of act. And this is what is so damning about not just these kinds of styles of ecology, which are implicitly cybernetic in how they want us to relate with the world, but of the rise of the cybernetic, which becomes and is more or less coeval with the digital, and what we're inviting by idolizing these ways of framing the world is really a culture of death, which may sound dramatic, but in fact is what transpires, as we've seen over the past 3 or so years, where the notion that life has to be engineered then transposes into a fundamentally authoritarian regime where everyone is denied sovereignty over their own existence, their own body, if you like that phrase. I don't like that phrase because it can draw you into all kinds of discord. There are all sorts of implications that make things kind of foggy. But if you sort of abstract from the manner which has been muddled by dominant discourse, you see what I'm getting, right? And then we turn to the last section of Illich's essay, which is a hygienic manifesto. And along the way, what he has also asserted, that I'm going to just try and wrap up very quickly, and I'm going to do another third section where we look at the hygienic manifesto itself. What he's asserted is that we have to come to terms with certain facets of our existence which are inconvenient for the dominant discourse. Which facets? The facets of our mortality, our death, our suffering, the fact that there is disease sometimes, the fact that we can become impaired, the fact that we can age. These are all part and parcel of the human condition. And the meaning of our lives in many ways derives directly from how we engage with these facets of it. The collapse of life into a model of a system, into something which can be engineered, into a framework which is cybernetic, seeks to cut us off from these grounds of meaning. It may sound rather mordant at first blush, but the reality is that the vitality of our existence, the joy, the pleasure, etc., that we can actually engage through our living is in intimately connected with our finitude. And it's really, in a nutshell, this hubris of our contemporary condition, which is impelling us to deny the fact of that finitude, but that very denial is going to deprive us of our actual humanity. And this, by the way, is why I find AI and all the hoo-ha around AI just so absolutely revulsive, because it's trying to make the machine greater than the human. And, we cannot cooperate with that tendency. Well, look, guys, I'm going to wrap it up for now. We'll come back to you hopefully by tomorrow with another video. And this third one is going to be on the Hygienic Manifesto, the final section of this essay by Ivan Illich, Biocracy, Brave New Biocracy, Healthcare from Womb to Tomb. Thank you all. I'll catch you later. Bye.